He stood nearly 7 feet tall, a powerhouse built to dominate the ring, cheered by millions who believed he was unstoppable. Night after night, Andrew Martin, known to the world as Test, crashed his body onto unforgiving mats, sacrificing his health for entertainment, glory, and survival in one of the most brutal industries on Earth. But on a quiet morning in March 2009, there were no crowds, no entrance music, and no referee to count the fall. Andrew Martin was found dead at just 33 years old. Authorities called it an accident. Fans called it heartbreaking. And yet, behind the official reports lies a disturbing truth, one involving painkillers, brain damage, silent suffering, and a wrestling industry that often looks away. This is not just a death story. This is the mystery of a man who fought everyone, except the demons destroying him from within. Andrew Martin entered the World Wrestling Federation in the late 1990s, at a time when size, aggression, and intensity ruled the industry. With his towering frame, explosive strength, and intimidating presence, he quickly stood out as a future main event star. WWE rebranded him as Test, a name symbolizing the ultimate trial of strength, and placed him in high-profile storylines alongside Triple H, Shane McMahon, and Stephanie McMahon. To fans, Test looked like a man destined for greatness, confident, dominant, and fearless. But behind the scenes, Andrew was already paying a heavy price. The constant travel, brutal schedule, and physical demands of professional wrestling were slowly breaking his body down, even as his on-screen character continued to rise. Professional wrestling does not reward weakness, and Andrew Martin understood that better than most. Every injury meant risking your spot, your paycheck, and your future. Over the years, Andrew endured repeated injuries to his back, neck, and joints, each one compounding the last. Instead of time off, there was pressure to keep performing, to keep proving he belonged. Pain became normal. Discomfort became routine. And recovery was often replaced by medication. Away from the ring, Andrew grew increasingly isolated, struggling to find stability in a life built around physical punishment. Friends later recalled that while he remained professional, something inside him had changed. His energy dimmed, his confidence faded, and the joy of wrestling slowly turned into survival. To manage the relentless pain, Andrew Martin turned to prescription painkillers, a common but dangerous path among wrestlers of his era. These drugs were not taken for pleasure but for necessity to function, to sleep, to walk, to work. Over time, the line between treatment and dependence became dangerously blurred. Painkillers dull more than physical pain. They suppress emotions, clarity, and judgment. As his wrestling career slowed and opportunities faded, the psychological toll grew heavier. Andrew was no longer just fighting injuries. He was fighting a growing sense of loss, uncertainty, and identity crisis, all while relying on substances that masked the damage rather than healing it. On March 13, 2009, Andrew Martin was found dead in his Tampa, Florida apartment. He was only 33 years old. The official cause of death was ruled an accidental overdose caused by a combination of prescription drugs, including oxycodone. There was no suicide note, no sign of foul play, and no dramatic final moments, just a man who never woke up. To the public, the case was quickly closed. But for fans and fellow wrestlers, the questions never stopped. How does a healthy-looking athlete die so young? Was it truly an accident, or the inevitable result of years of physical abuse, mental exhaustion, and chemical dependence? The silence surrounding his death felt louder than any answer. What truly deepened the mystery came after Andrew's death, when medical examinations revealed that he suffered from chronic traumatic encephalopathy, or CTEA, degenerative brain condition linked to repeated head trauma. This discovery placed Andrew Martin among a growing list of athletes whose brains were damaged long before their lives ended. CTE is known to cause depression, emotional instability, impulsive behavior, and cognitive decline. Suddenly, many pieces fell into place. His struggles, his isolation, his reliance on medication, it all pointed to a hidden injury that no cast could fix. The ring had taken more from Andrew than anyone realized. During the era Andrew competed in, the wrestling industry demanded extreme physiques and non-stop performance. Steroid use, though rarely discussed openly, was an unspoken reality for many athletes trying to keep up with impossible standards. Combined with painkillers, intense training, and minimal recovery, the human body was pushed beyond its limits. Andrew Martin was not alone. His death mirrored a disturbing pattern of young wrestlers dying under eerily similar circumstances. Each case was labeled different, but the root causes remained hauntingly consistent. Andrew Martin's death was not just a tragic accident, it was a warning. A warning about the unseen cost of entertainment, about the dangers of ignoring mental health, and about an industry that often celebrates strength while neglecting vulnerability. Test may never have held the biggest championship, but his story left a lasting impact. Today, his name is remembered not only for his power in the ring, but for the truth his death exposed. A truth that reminds us that behind every larger-than-life wrestler is a human being fighting battles we never see. Andrew Martin survived countless matches, but the real fight was the one no one saw. Remember the man, remember the warning, and never forget the cost of silence.